Please, somebody get a picture of the look on his face right now.
He came to our wedding.
Oh, okay, good. Because I'm telling you, I was concerned.
I think we all agree.
I would have been concerned.
Robert, who are you reading? I mean, like, who's doing it right now? Who do you think is the best right now?
I gotta be honest, I'm going back and reading all the old Creepy and Eerie's right now.
Yeah.
I mean, I like what Dark Horse is doing, trying to relaunch Creepy as an anthology, and there are definite gems in there.
Mike, you don't like
it? No, I like it. I just don't think it's going to go any further. They were having such problems with the licensors, and they just let go the editor of those books. And I think those books are dead for the time being, unfortunately.
Do we really need a Creepy or an Eerie to get people into horror comics? I mean, do you have to have that name on the banner to go, oh, I want to read this?
At my age, I just have an emotional investment in the group read.
No, I mean, there was IDW did a horror anthology that kind of went nowhere. I'm trying to remember the name of it.
There you go.
Right there. Exactly. That's the point. That's the point.
Yeah.
I think they put it all out in a collection, but I think they put like 3 issues, maybe 4 issues out, and it was in the vein of eerie, creepy, and all that, and it went nowhere.
Somebody in the audience, tell me something other than Creepy, Eerie, or Walking Dead, a horror comic that you've read that's good.
I can actually.
Anybody.
I can actually name one.
What?
I name one, and this is a cross promotion because the film is coming out next month. Dylan Dog.
Is Dylan Dog a horror comic or is it an adventure horror comic?
Is it a horror comic or is it an adventure horror comic?
I mean, to me, okay.
Yes.
Yeah, good answer. Because I look at that trailer, that doesn't scare me a bit.
Oh no, it doesn't scare me either. But I was a big fan of Cemetery Man, which is apparently also based on a horror comic. And I actually, when I write my comics, which I have horror tinge, I like writing it with a blend of humor. You need kind of humor to offset the horror. Kind of like what's his name, Rami, the Evil Dead films. That
Army of Darkness, you mean?
Yeah,
the book I'm writing.
There's that book
that you're completely oblivious to.
Yes. But I like that. I mean, you would probably agree with me that you need that. You need that kind of like temperate, knock a person like with humor, and then come up with the horror punch.
Okay.
Yes.
Is the Goon horror?
I'm sorry?
The Goon? Is that horror?
Would the Goon be horror? I don't know. I don't consider it horror. It's humor horror.
Humor horror. No, I put it in the same vein. Yeah.
Like adventure horror that you guys are talking about, where they like
I think we
investigate the horror.
Yeah, I think we get kind of hung up on what actually horror actually is. I mean, I remember a while back, talking about torture porn.
Yeah. Let's talk about torture.
Does that really qualify as horror? Does it really
to a modern
horrify you?
It does. Well, it horrifies me. Yes.
I mean, when we talk about horror, we talk about being scared, really. And a lot of these books, torture porn. It's scary if you imagine yourself in that position, but it doesn't begin to match the scare you get watching The Exorcist. When you believe in supernatural forces, that's where the real horror comes from. When you believe in something above and beyond that you can't put your finger on.
It's kind of like what I definitely consider horror is like the Cronenberg's films, and he almost all of his films are basically your body's rebelling against you. Yeah. Something's going wrong that you have no control over, and torture porn's kind of like the easy version. Yeah, someone's going to stick a needle in your eye.
So it's the difference between existential horror and just shock.
Yeah, I think so.
Yes. Good.
There's actually a cover of that. I think it's the new. It was called "Oh, the Horror of the Horror," and it's got like a needle, I think, on the cover going to the eye. That's kind of cool, but it's kind of like torture porn's taking it to the.
There's a difference between being horrified and being grossed out.
Yes.
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 That's true.
My brain stopped working, so thank you.
Grimm's Fairy Tales, Raven Gregory. Comments, thoughts?
I actually have not read that.
What about Black Hole?
Black Hole. Ooh, good one.
So you say Black Hole, I think of the Disney movie.
Yeah. No. Charles Burns.
Oh, okay.
Charles Burns, right? You meant that. I would kind of put that in the same way. I don't know if it's full horror, but in the same way as I was saying, just the Cronenberg thing, because like kids getting these diseases and suddenly growing tails and living in the woods. I liked it.
The Grimm's fairy tale stuff is pretty good. I don't whatever call it horror. I think those kids had it coming.
I mean, when you take the Cheshire Cat from into the real world and it starts killing off people, but someone thinks it's a nice, cute kitten.
I shy away from the animal stuff myself, so I don't read it.
What's the difference between like suspense and horror? Like, I'm not sure if I understand the line.
To me, suspense is the person has a chance to get away. In horror, they never do.
That's a good one.
I think it's the nature of the scare. As I said, we're talking about true horror. It's that chill you feel when there's something you don't understand that's bigger than you, that's threatening you. It's that ability to evoke a fear of the unknown. Whereas suspense, the fear of the unknown, what's behind the next door, it all plays by the rules of the physical world that we live in. But in true horror, like The Exorcist, things happen which are beyond our ability to understand, and it scares the shit out of us. It's that ability to evoke a supernatural fear that marks true horror. It's very difficult to do, but very few films do it.
And I also think it's like suspense is that idea. It's coming, it's coming, it's coming. Something bad's coming, something bad's coming. Horror's, there it is, we're showing it to you. It's here, oh my god. And it fills you with that dread.
It's like watching Fox News.
That's actually good. Wow, man, you're on fire today.
Thank you.
Oh.
That's my third Red Bull and vodka right now. So. Thank you.
It's the vodka talking.
It's the vodka talking.
It's the Red Bull talking.
It's the Red Bull talking.
I got one of those. There we go.
All right. So it's just full on drinking now. So.
I was supposed to be drunk tweeting during this.
That's why we're here.
I actually made a promise to myself, no more drunk tweeting.
Get out.
How's
You know,
that-
I get
how's
more
that
followers
working?
on Twitter when
Which
I
is
drink.
even
Really?
more.
Yeah.
So.
People love it when I get drunk. I'm drunk right now, folks. You don't realize.
Oh no, you're picking a fight with Joss Whedon.
So.
I'll own you, Whedon.
So
stupid.
something that I've noticed that's a trend in horror lately is the reemergence of what I think, Mike, you're talking about it quite a bit, which is that Lovecraftian, there's something larger than you, something beyond your something beyond even imagining.
I don't think it's trend. I mean, it's been trending for.
It's always been here.
Yeah, it's
It
always
has.
been here, like 30, 40, 50 years.
Yeah. No, but I think I see a definite. There seems to be much more reference to it.
A lot more squid.
You're right, and that Lovecraft endures because of his ability to evoke that primordial fear. Like you're a mouse and suddenly there's a dog or a cat in there. I mean, that fear that you're going to be overwhelmed by a force you don't understand and can't control.
It's called reading the Bible. There's nothing scarier than that, if you ask me. Seriously. Old Testament.
Fire and brimstone.
Fire and brimstone.
Because there's something larger than you that's making
That-
the rules that you don't quite understand.
There are no rules that you understand, exactly. You can be punished for anything, not even realizing that you crossed the line that you didn't know existed. Blair Witch Project was the last movie that ever scared me. Since then, nothing phases me. Why was it, a lot of people talk about Blair Witch Project not being that big a deal after all the hype. Because most of the stuff went out over my head.
That's right.
It made you think about it. That last image
Oh, yeah.
with
I
with
agree.
Mikey in the corner.
I agree with you. And you hear the screams
The
in the
scream
back.
and
Oh,
the
yeah.
camera falls. That's truly more horrifying than anything you could have put up on the screen.
No, I agree with you. And the scene with the hands in the tent. You see the hands.
Oh
being
yeah.
pressed. Oh, yeah.
I peed my pants.
And then Twilight came along.
That's pretty horrifying.
That is horrifying.
But for totally different reasons.
But just so you know, you have benefited from Twilight. You now have an entire generation of codependent girls who want you to rescue them now. Just mousse your hair and get really pale, stay out of the sun.
Put a little glitter on.
Put a little glitter on, act like really distant and uninterested. They will love you. Oh my God, he's the man I've been waiting for. Can I have some of that thing that you had in that little banana? Thank you.
So what is it about Twilight that makes it so popular? I mean, it's theoretically horror. Theoretically. Or I mean, using horror tropes.
Not even.
In terms of
You know
vampires.
what, they've domesticated all these creatures by turning them into romance subjects. They've domesticated vampires and werewolves.
I blame vampires.
Who doesn't? That's fair.
You're my best friend.
You know all the theories about why girls want to have a horse? Same thing with a vampire or a werewolf.
They're very well hung. What?
They're
Wow,
giant,
we're going back to
powerful
blue.
animals that love you.
In other words, they're very well hung. I'm sorry, they're minors in the room.
And you know, the same kind of thing that you can tame this beast.
I am so going to hell.
Mike is gonna move away from you now.
Mike, come on, Mike, you gotta interject here and save us.
Are we on why is Twilight popular? Is that what
Well, I'm just
It's-
curious.
Subject?
Yeah, I
I'm
mean,
just curious if Twilight really is horror, and I disagree.
Oh,
I
no.
don't think it's
No, it's
horror.
not.
It's not horror.
It's kind of like is Dark Shadows horror?
It's horror light.
Yeah. Because basically Twilight's, I hate to say called Dark Shadows. You know, that whole romance and all that.
yeah, it's a direct descendant.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, the idea of a guy being turned down by a woman's period. Okay, it's real, folks. If you ever read the books, that's true. Edward gets turned down by Bella when she's on her.
So you've read these books?
Research. Come on, if that's not horrifying, I don't know what is.
That's suffering for your craft right there.
Dude, best pickup line ever. See a girl at 6 period study. Is it your time of love?
Wow. Okay. This is going really.
Yeah,
Bye,
this is
Saban.
gonna
Okay,
fall
Red
down.
Fox.
So-
Red Fox sound like
Well, something that can save it is questions. Anybody have questions for?
Does anybody have any answers?
Yeah, does anybody have answers? So that would be something that would be great. So, well, here's a question: What brought you to this panel other than just being a horror? I mean, you're a horror fan, but why? I mean, what brought you to this panel?
We're waiting for the next panel.
Oh, I love
Okay, y'all came here, but Robert Kirkman's not sitting here, so come on.
I'm not actually a horror fan, and so I was curious to hear like why people do have such a love for it.
Because we all, you know, when you know there's no real consequences, that there's no thrill like the thrill of being tricked in a theater into jumping out of your seat.
The roller coaster ride, right? You know that when you go over that precipice and you screaming down towards the ground, your heart jumps up into your throat and you're like, ah! But then
Completely different feeling.
Also,
Yeah.
I mean, look at like an action film. You know, Schwarzenegger, someone leaping over. Can he make it? You know, then throw in a monster at the same time, and it gives it that little more edge. That's what I think about it.
For me, it's about working through personal issues.
But that's a really good point. No, that's actually, I know you're bringing that up.
Facing the fear,
Yeah.
and laughing about it later.
Because isn't that a big part of horror? I mean, it has to resonate.
I think that's the allure, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, you have to kind of, I'm trying to remember the anthology that did this. It was a while back. It was a story of a little girl who had a little bear, and the bear came to life whenever she needed to be protected. The story is an ambiguous figure coming through her door. It's not revealed until the end of the story that that figure was not the bear, the monster bear, but it was actually her father who was molesting her. And then the bear comes to life and protects her from the pedophile, and then it continues from there. I think that's kind of where horror needs to go today, bringing in those real life issues.
Well, I mean, look back at Romero's films. He was using political issues of the day and kind of telling a parable through horror.
But his was mostly consumerism. I mean, are we scared of
Well,
consumerism today?
no, look at Night of the Living Dead. First film, that was more about racism.
Yeah.
Are we scared of racism, though? Is that something that scares you? I'm sorry.
Yes.
I'm in a room
Yes.
full of white people.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
Yeah. Yes.
In the sense of like, you know, when someone says something overtly racist, I'm horrified that people kind of believe it.
Did I horrify you just now?
No.
I said something overtly racist. Really? Well, I didn't do a good job. I need to work on it.
Yeah.
You should really work harder.
Lift the elbow. Lift the elbow.
Yeah.
But I mean, but okay, so if so, horror seems to be at times a stand-in for social